Hello everybody. So today let's talk about whether there's any point in this rat race. You know, everyone calls it a rat race because you feel like you're just chasing after something, right? You're stuck like a rat in a cage, like a hamster on a wheel, you know, running around. Every day is the same. And eventually you stop feeling as if there's any point in all of this. And a lot of times there is so much pain inside. There's so much pain in the world in general, right? And especially nowadays with all the wars going on and everything, it might feel that the world is just literally coming to an end, right? So these thoughts that occur to a lot of us, what is the point in all of this? They're very natural, you know? It's very human to feel that way, you know? To feel a bit, you know, desperate. What's the point in all of this? And I came across this interesting post on TikTok, and it spoke about the meaning of life, you know, and what's the meaning of life. And it said, do not be confusing all of this hustling and striving and doing and working and achieving. Don't confuse that with the meaning of life, because you came here to just be the way you are. So that was the message, right? And I see a lot of people commenting on those type of posts because it's a very comforting thought, you know? It's very comforting, you know? Because life is suffering a lot of times. Life is full with hardships, you know? A lot of pain and suffering. And then if someone tells you, hey, you actually came here just to be the way you are, and you are complete and you are perfect, it's a very comforting message. It makes you immediately feel as if it's not really all lost, you know? There's still hope. And at the end of the day, no matter what happens in your life, your soul just keeps shining through, and ultimately you're going to ascend to the higher dimensions, you know? And it's a very comforting thought. But to me that is escapism, really, is what it is. And let me explain to you why. Well, it could be quite obvious, right? Why? Because if you don't focus on the matters at hand, at your actual life problems, at your life situation that needs to be resolved, right? And if instead you just comfort yourself with the thought that deep down inside, I'm this perfect soul, and I don't need much in life. I just need to be and keep shining and spreading the love, then, you know, what's ultimately going to be achieved by that? Are you really going to realize your full potential? Are you really going to be becoming, you know, the best version of yourself? Because this is one of those cliche phrases nowadays that we hear, right? You got to become the best version of yourself. But then again, it comes with striving. It comes with doing something, right? Overcoming obstacles and dealing with issues and looking into yourself. And sometimes when we look in ourselves, we find things that we don't like. We find things that scare us. Okay? So what do? What's the natural reaction? We don't want to look in there. And we don't want to look into that closet that is full with skeletons. So it's much easier to just pretend that it's not there. Pretend that it's not relevant. Pretend that all that, you know, hustling and doing and achieving, that that all of that is just materialistic. I'm not a materialistic person, right? So I'm gonna just ignore all of that and just focus on my spirituality, and ultimately I'm gonna ascend to this higher dimension. Okay, so that's the message, and it's very tempting. And the way I see it is, it's very tempting because, like I said, it gives comfort, and it's quite easy. You don't have to do much, you know, because by definition, if you are complete and you are perfect, then you just keep staying the way you are, right? And as a matter of fact, that that post. Oh, hi, Garis, thank you. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that post that I was talking about, that's exactly what it said, right? You don't have to do. It said that you have confused the state of doing with state of being, you know, or the other way around, right? Basically, the message was that your basic state here should be to be. Just be yourself. Okay? Don't do much. Just be and spread the love. And that's enough. But again, it's very tempting because it's easy. And it's an escapism. It's a way of escaping the reality. Same way we, for example, just to give you a few examples, right? If we don't want to face the problems in our families, right? A lot of us have relationship issues, a lot of us. Relationships ain't easy, right? It's easy to get started, but then when the rosy glasses come off, as we all know, that's when the real hardship starts, right? And a lot of families are having relationship issues. It's almost a standard nowadays, right? So a lot of people escape the relationship by doing something on their own. Hitting the gym, doing some other activity, just not to be with the other person or with the family, with the excuse that I need some me time. But the question is, if you really have found your true love and your best friend and everything, wouldn't you want to spend a lot of time with them? Do you really need that much, you know, very frequent me time? We gotta look into ourselves and ask ourselves these hard questions. Isn't that just a form of escapism, right? And this notion that this is just the materialistic world, and me hustling and doing and achieving is just contributing to the, you know, to the global warming and resource depletion on the planet or whatever, you know, this thought nowadays could be very tempting, you know, because a lot of, especially younger folks, believe that. And I see this trend where TikTok is full with these posts, you know, about this, you know, notion that we don't need much. We don't need much. We just need to be spiritual and loving and spread the love, you know. Everyone is using these hearts nowadays in all the messages, you know. People WhatsApping each other or whatever, and a gazillion hearts, and everyone loves each other. So let me look at my notes. What else did I want to mention in relation to all of this? Oh yeah, another very important point is why this type of notion that you just have to be and you have to seek the harmony and love and everything, right? Why it's so tempting is because you get to feel yourself at peace. Finally, you are feeling anxious your whole life, and now when you engage in these spiritual practices, maybe you meditate a little and you learn to calm your mind down a little bit, right? Suddenly you feel this harmony, this peace. And because it's what you've been always looking for, right? It's a very kind of addictive feeling. You might think that this is it, you have arrived. This is the true state of being. Harmony, love, and it could suck you in. I remember a long time ago, some 20 odd years ago, when I started looking into meditation and all those types of Eastern practices, right? It was very tempting to me because for the same reason, basically, that it gives you the false perception of peace and harmony in your life. Your life has been full with stress and you've been feeling anxious the whole time, and suddenly something comes into your life that can give you the feeling of peace, harmony, happiness, and all of that. So obviously you feel good and you feel like you finally found what you've been looking for. But why it's a false feeling? Because in order to truly be yourself, you gotta learn how to stand up for yourself. We all know these things, right? Draw the boundaries and all of that, okay? This is what any psychologist will tell you. And we don't want to do that. If we are the conflict avoiders, if we always try to avoid conflicts and please others, and if we constantly seek others' approval, we end up looking for harmony out there, just so that we can feel at ease, okay? But what you're doing is you're just literally kicking the can down the road, and the can being looking into your soul and asking yourself, hey, what am I really afraid of? What is that suppressed dark side of me that I don't want to admit exists? Am I afraid of standing up for myself? Am I allowing my work colleagues to walk over me? Am I being just a pushover? And I'm not really the man I always wanted to be? Am I not really the man that I always aspired to be? So these are the types of questions that you need to ask. So instead of just looking for the harmony and attaining that feeling that everything is fine, I'm at peace, so finally I found the source of the truth and all of that, you need to look inside of your soul and ask yourself the questions, the hard questions. What is it that I'm trying to suppress here by embracing this harmony, by embracing this love? The answers are always within. The answers are always within. And we need to basically find that inner core, that higher self, and that is that concept of the best version of yourself. It's all hidden in here. It's always been there. It's just that you've got a lot of layers upon layers built on top of that. You grew up in a family, or maybe someone else raised you, right? But typically as children, we are in environments where other adults are guiding us, are giving or sometimes not giving the needed emotional support and love and safety and all of that, right? So when we grow up, the environment, the adults, the school, the kindergarten, and then as you grow, a lot of other people and the society as a whole, they give you a lot of ideas, behavioral patterns that you buy into, and you take them as truths, undeniable truths. Because at the time when you're very young, Your mind is very, how to say it, unprotected, because between the ages, between when you get born and up until you're around 7 years old or somewhere around that number, right? You basically take everything as truth. And even emotionally, if you are, for example, if you're living in a dysfunctional family and your mom or your dad, if they don't give you the needed feeling of safety and love and everything, right? Then you will start believing that there's something wrong with you, that you are not worthy of love, because the very thought that your mom or dad might not be ideal and might not be the people who will give you the love and safety, that thought is so scary, because you need to survive. Everything is geared towards survival in our brain, you know, the reptilian brain. It's responsible for survival. And if your psyche picks something up at that young age as a possible threat to survival, you will do everything to suppress that thought, that possibility that you might not survive. So you will do everything, your psyche, your subconscious mind will do everything to increase your chances of survival. And for that particular, when we look at that particular situation, if you belittle yourself and you believe that there's something wrong with you, for your subconscious mind, that is a good thing, believe it or not. It sounds crazy, but it is. Because you are increasing your chances of survival by emotionally kind of aligning yourself to the way your dad or mom treats you. Right? So everything in our subconscious mind comes as a positive thing. No matter how negative the consequences are, all of those things that we took in, all of those behavioral patterns, the emotions, the beliefs, they are all positive for our subconscious mind. We took them in as little children in order to survive. That's the bottom line. And now, when we're grown-ups, our job is to unpeel all of those layers, and look deep inside of our souls and ask these hard questions, you know. What am I trying to not see in my life, in my soul? Where am I lying, perhaps? Am I lying to myself? Am I not facing a reality and I'm just trying to escape in some way, shape, or form? And maybe this notion of the spiritual, you know, paradise, so to speak, where I can finally find harmony and peace and happiness. And especially nowadays when the internet allows us to connect with each other on such a large scale, right? We can immediately find like-minded people. And then everyone keeps telling each other that you're right. This harsh life and the rat race and the hustle, it's all for nothing. You are perfect. You are amazing just the way you are. So accept yourself and spread the love, you know. And then everyone just keeps buying into that idea without realizing what they're really doing is they're betraying themselves. Because your true job, why you came here on this planet, is to reveal your true self. You did come here perfect, but your childhood and your early, you know, your teenage years and your early adulthood have given you so much issues that you need to deal with now, that your job is to uncover those, get rid of them, heal, and start seeing what you truly want. And then when you can really start hearing yourself, hearing you within, that's when you will realize what you really want to do in life. So what may seem like a never-ending rat race and hustle for someone who's still experiencing a lot of pain and cannot see through that, right? For you, it's going to be amazing. You're going to be enjoying it, because when you are healed, when you are finally complete and you fully realize that, and you start doing the things that you truly want, and you react and act, engage with other people the way that you really want, instead of trying to please others and doing things because others want, or your parents want, or societal or peer pressure or whatever, right? If you are truly yourself, then there is no possibility that you could have that, rat race scenario in your life, and despair and pointlessness and all of that. It all goes away if you start looking into yourself, if you start asking yourself the right questions. What am I trying not to see? Where am I lying to myself? Where am I pretending? Am I just pretending that my life is good? Do I like my job? Or am I doing it just because it brings in money and puts the food on the table? Does my heart actually want something more? But here again comes the caveat, right? It's so easy to fall for the false perception that everything materialistic is just, chasing after money. In these spiritual cycles, money is almost seen as the source of all evil, Even today, I looked at some related posts and I saw this message that if you are a truly artistic person and you're an artist at heart, then everything you do for the money is just side hustle, right? So you can be wherever you want to be, no matter what kind of a specialist you are or whatever. It's just a side hustle to put the food on the table, but the artistic expression doesn't expect money in return, kind of. I think that notion is completely wrong, because it actually goes against everything that we know about how we actualize our true potential. The very simple rule is, once you know what you truly want in life, it'll just come out. It'll just come out, how to put it best, in such a way that you're going to automatically resonate with the rest of the world, You will be given value to other people, and the money is just going to be a side effect, That's the way it happens. Just look at any successful person. They were pursuing their own dreams, but as a result, they provide a lot of benefits for the rest of the world. Obviously, we like the most obvious examples would be the likes of Elon Musk or any of those, really, really successful people who are providing massive value through their inventions and all of the other things and goods and services that they've created. And it's an amazing example of how one person, through them pursuing what they really want in life, results in massive, massive value for others, and it all comes back to them as abundance, as money. But again, there's a tendency, what I see, for spiritual people to see that as something evil, Everyone is going after the rich, tax the rich. Money is the source of the evil. Rich people are almost bad people in a sense. Just because someone's a millionaire or a billionaire kind of makes them morally corrupt almost, right? But it's not the case. It's not the case at all. because it's just a representation of the energy that comes out of you and then gets sent into the world, and then the world responds. And it comes into your life in the form of money, because money, that's just pure energy, you know. What you give, you're gonna get back. It's a simple rule. So yeah, today's message was basically, do not confuse these things. Just because your life feels like a rat race, feels like, you know, a never-ending story, every day is the same, there's a lot of pain in your life and you just want to escape it, don't start thinking that that's not the real life, that the real life is just some spiritual paradise where you can feel at peace and harmony and love each other, and just keep ignoring the material life as something insignificant, and basically just wait on the day when you're gonna kick the bucket, and then you will ascend to the higher dimensions. We were actually sent to this world to become the true best versions of ourselves, to reveal that true inner core that's now hidden underneath the layers of pain and suffering. And you need to start looking into your heart, asking the questions to yourself, and stop lying to yourself. And the moment you start doing that, the change can start happening, you know. And it's not very easy, it's painful, it's very painful. Over the course of the last 8 months, I've done a lot of therapy myself. I've undergone a lot of change, and it's been transformational, but it's been hard. It's not easy to admit to yourself that you haven't been true to yourself, that you've been trying to suppress something, you know. But only then the transformation and the change can happen. Yep, that's the message that I wanted to send out to you. Thanks everyone for joining the live. And remember, if you are looking for harmony, then chances are you are really trying to suppress the pain in your life. And you're trying to just follow the same path that you always followed, avoiding conflicts and trying, you know, being the people pleaser, being a pushover. And those are the harsh realities that we don't want to admit to ourselves. It's best to start thinking of yourself and start perceiving yourself as this new age enlightened person, you know, all immersed in love and harmony and peace and all forgiving. But remember, you can only truly forgive if you actually face the person who did something to you. And it doesn't matter whether that person is alive or dead, you're going to have to face them anyway. Because only then, when you have spoken your mind and your heart and told them how you really feel about what they did to you or said to you, only then you can forgive for real. Other than that, those are just empty words. It's very easy to suppress the resentment and all such emotions and just start believing that you've forgiven everyone. And it's especially easy if you have been engaging in these spiritual practices for a while, and then you start feeling that you are the love itself, and it's all filled with love, and everything is fine, and of course I'm forgiving everyone. But what happens deep inside, all of those related emotions, resentment, anger, all of that gets suppressed a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. It's hidden away. And you could spend long years trying to chase after that feeling of harmony, Some time ago it was very, very popular to go to places like India to find yourself, as they say, right? A lot of people went there to look for themselves without realizing that it's all in here. They didn't have to go to India or any other place. They were already there. They just had to look inside themselves, start asking the real questions, and then the answers would come. I remember I read this book, I forgot its name, but it was about a person who was deep into this, spirituality and meditation, and they had spent long, long years trying to reach that ultimate enlightenment. And eventually when they approached a real guru somewhere in India, I believe it was, you know what the guru told them? They just looked at them and told them to go back home and talk to their mother. Right? So you could be a really, really spiritual person in that sense, denying everything materialistic, denying the meaning of the rat race and everything. But what you're really doing is you are just prolonging the inevitable. And what is the inevitable? The inevitable is the realization that I have to face the demons inside, that I have to start growing, and that this world, the materialistic world, is there for that very reason. We are here so that with the help of the materialistic world, we can constantly get better, go through a gazillion of different situations that trigger us, that make us uncomfortable, where we are forced to either, start realizing our true selves and giving real value to others, or just keep existing, keep barely getting by. And then what you do is you start blaming the capitalism and the system, and you see the inflation, and I can't make my ends meet, and it's always someone else's fault. It's very easy to fall for that notion, because it's very human. It's very human. Because it's very hard to actually start looking into yourself and asking these questions. But I gotta tell you something. Whether it's in this life or the next one, but you're just gonna have to do it. You're gonna be forced to do it, because there's no other alternative. Even look back at Carl Jung, one of the founders of the modern psychology. It was 130 years ago, 120 years ago, basically early 1900s, right? He already had it all figured out. Look it up, Carl Jung's individuation, what it is. I'll tell you what it is. It's the simple concept that ultimately you need to find your true heart's calling. Look into your soul. Look into the depths of yourself, into the darkness. Look at all the things that you don't want to see, that you've been trying to suppress your whole life, and start dealing with them. And only then you can get on the path of true enlightenment, which is the individuation. When you start realizing what your true potential is, you start seeing your true self, but without looking at those dark sides, at the pain and everything, It's not possible. And then that's the real harmony. Not some, spiritual harmony place where you can just exist without any worries and forget about the materialistic world. That's just escapism. That is just escapism. And I don't blame anyone. I'm not saying that it's wrong or right. It's just the way things are. It just is. I'm not here to judge or blame. I'm just sharing what I know to be true in my particular stage in my life. And I have found this advice very useful because I've transformed my own life and the lives of my clients. So if you are interested in looking into yourself, if you're interested in finding what your true potential is and how you can start that process, you can come to kukurstherapy.com and I'll give you a free consultation. And during that consultation, I'll show you exactly how I work with my clients. I'm going to show you your biggest pain point in your life, and you're going to see how exactly it's preventing you from getting where you want in life. And then we can get started. All right, I'll call it a day, and I'm going to be wrapping up this live. Thanks everyone who joined this live, and chat soon again.